Originating from Australia, Tszyu belongs to the long list of pugilists who not only have to fight their way to the top but also earn honor and respect within the discipline. What is considered the noble art of the fists can often turn into a hostile event where a boxer displays the classic rat fighter behavior to intimidate their opponent. When Tony Harrison dared to disparage Tsyu's skills inside and outside the ring, karma began to conspire against him. Welcome. In today's video, we will be reliving one of the most memorable bouts of modern times. The night Tony Harrison learned the hard way that in boxing, the fists have the final say. You won't believe how it all ended. Stay until the end to find out. It was the year 2023, and Tsyu's next fight was the perfect opportunity for this pugilist to close with a flourish. But to achieve this, he first had to overcome one last obstacle in the ring. Tony Harrison. Tsyu's undefeated professional record of 21 victories, 15 by knockout, put pressure on Harrison, who did not react well. His record of 29 victories, 21 by knockout, contrasted with 3 tough knockout defeats. The possibility of a fourth was high, but not as high as his ego. It didn't take long for Harrison to start making controversial statements about Tszyu, disrespecting his figure both inside and outside the ring. If you follow the history of the discipline, you know that this kind of behavior is labeled as rat fighters. And every rat fighter always gets what they deserve. Harrison had to learn the hard way to let his fists speak for him. On the night of March 12th, in the ring at Kyoto's Bank Arena, Sydney Olympic Park, a hunt broke out inside the ring. First round. With the sound of the bell, both fighters went into reconnaissance mode. Neither wanted to risk a first attack and receive a powerful counterpunch that would immediately neutralize them. Moving almost in unison, both evaluated each other's weaknesses and strengths. Harrison started stretching his left hand to test Tsyu's guard. But Tszyu had positioned him against the ropes. Trying to escape laterally, Harrison felt the pressure of having an imposing figure like Tszyu lurking. Eventually, Tszyu started throwing and landing punches. His analysis was successfully completed. He was ready to start his offensive.
At least the first 6 rounds with his jab.
And Tszyu with that.
Go Tszyu.
Second round. As soon as the second episode began, Tszyu positioned Harrison against the ropes once more. Harrison's left hand sought to keep Tszyu at bay, but it was a chess game with contact. Patiently, Tszyu waited to enter with a left-right at the right moment. Even with few exchanges of punches, Tsyu's dominance over Harrison was evident. He was the one setting the pace of the fight.
Not in this round, Tsyu's not pressuring it enough. He's
so much, but he do need to start picking it up. So
there haven't been any body punches from Tszyu yet. 3-2 for Tszyu.
Third round. Once again, Harrison went straight to the ropes. The fight was strategic, both fighters keeping their eyes up and their guard only slightly lower. Whoever opened it a bit could pay the price. And Tsyu's right hand was ready to collect.
Game say, step over, step over.
Here's percentage. It's been Harrison's jab against Tszyu's right.
Harrison tried to change his approach, attacking at different levels. But at every target, he met a hard-to-penetrate wall. Tsyu's guard was solid. It would take more than a lucky punch to break it down. Suddenly, a powerful right hand made Harrison stagger, retreating until he hit the corner. There, he was subjected to absorbing a harsh barrage of Tsyu's punches.
Yeah, no.
Here's a right hand, that one rocked here. Left here in round 3, Harrison back to the ropes.
Cornered, he resorted to clinching for the referee to put the distance between them that he couldn't achieve on his own. Upon resuming the fight, Tszyu cornered him once again. Against the ropes, Harrison was at his most vulnerable point yet. He had to endure a couple of right hands and a fearsome left hook before being saved by the bell.
Here's the other right again. And another right. And a left hook.
Fourth round. Harrison tried to balance the scales, using his left hand to neutralize Tsyu's hard offensive even before he could unleash his power. But eventually, he retreated to the ropes. Tszyu knew how to pin him down and would do it every time he allowed it. Harrison tried to escape laterally while throwing punches almost at random. Tszyu followed closely, creating the right moment for his right hand to deliver a new dose of punishment to his rival.
Under a minute.
5th round. As usual, Harrison retreated to the ropes almost immediately. Against them, he received a hard left-right combination straight to the chin. With the audience going wild, the pressure on him increased. Tszyu had become a ruthless executioner, leaving no room even for a gasp. Harrison struggled to exchange some punches, but to no avail. His lateral movements didn't help him escape the trap he kept falling into. Meanwhile, Tsyu's indomitable right hand continued wreaking havoc on him.
More to the body, knowing that toe-to-toe.
There's the right hand off the ropes. There's a good one.
6th round. Tszyu approached, and Harrison retreated, stretching his left hand as usual. Tsyu's left hooks were the only ones competing in appearances against his own powerful right hand. Harrison was in a tunnel, unable to see the light at the end. Second after second, it only proved that his words never matched his abilities. Against the ropes, almost from the first second of the bout, he was an example of a submissive fighter, forced to endure without having the opportunity to attack.
What you've seen out of Tim avoids the right hand.
7th round. Uncomfortable against the ropes, it seemed that karma had condemned Harrison to endure the rounds. The intensity of Tsyu's offensive increased with each passing second. Now, the question was how many more punches Harrison could withstand. Resilience is not exactly the word to describe Harrison's performance in this fight. Staying on his feet and moving was pure survival instinct. Round after round, he found himself in the same hole. The only difference was Tszyu, who, as he grew tired of playing with his prey, like any predator, exerted a little more violence in his offense.
I don't know about not right. I'm entertained with that jab.
There's the right hand.
8th round. By the 8th round, Harrison didn't even seem to bother trying to neutralize with his left hand. He was more focused on his lateral movements to avoid facing him directly. When he did, Tszyu motivated him to keep running. Left hooks to the body, right hands to the head, Tszyu orchestrated an offensive towards the path to his victory, which, surprisingly, was just around the corner.
But hey, choose your punches wisely, use those lateral movements.
Harrison slipped.
9th round. Almost immediately from the start of the round, a left hand made Harrison's head snap back.
This fight, at the beginning, obviously it was Harrison with that jab, but then...
Against the ropes, his countdown had already begun. For the first time in 9 rounds, it seemed that Harrison managed to keep the fight in the center of the ring. He even landed good right hands on Tszyu, but it was too late to change the outcome. Harrison had ceded too much ground, which he couldn't regain. A powerful right hand neutralized his flashes of offense. It was the opening for a series of right hands that would connect without opposition, as his guard had completely fallen.
A couple of knockdowns.
And another right hand right on the button to Harrison. And a right to the retina. Harrison's hurt.
Tszyu was hitting Harrison's head like a punching bag. After crashing into the ropes, a disastrous left hook only further confused Harrison's mind. Tszyu was now hitting left and right, and it seemed that Harrison didn't even notice. But it was clear he was being seriously hurt. By the time the uppercuts started coming in, the ring had become the scene of an ongoing crime. It was a massacre. Harrison tried to stay on his feet, grabbing the top rope. But a powerful right hand made his already weak legs tremble until he fell to the canvas without letting go of the rope.
By Tszyu, he's looking to stop Tony Harrison and drops him.
At that moment, the referee did what any humane being would do: stop the attack. No more was needed. The safety count began, and Harrison didn't seem to even understand what was happening. He looked up, but his gaze was empty. He got up at the count of 8, but it was just a reflex of his survival instinct. The referee gave him the benefit of the doubt and tried to check if he was fit to continue. He asked him to walk from side to side, but his stability was almost non-existent. With both gloves down, his fighting spirit had abandoned his body. After mocking him, he was defeated by Tszyu. And in what a way! Since this tough defeat, Harrison has not stepped into a fighting ring again. Although his professional record only adds up to 4 knockout defeats, the outcome of the fight against Tszyu was undoubtedly devastating for him. If you've made it this far, I thank you. Remember, the best way to support my content is by liking the video. Do you think Harrison ever had a chance to beat Tszyu? Or was he just a rat fighter who didn't know when to keep his mouth shut? I'll read you in the comments.